Lando.
Yeah.
Great race, great fight. How much did you enjoy Silverstone? Did you watch it back?
No, I've never watched a race back in my whole career of Formula One.
Never?
I watched some little clips of replays and overtakes, but I never watched any race back. It's like the complete opposite of when I was not in Formula One. I would watch every single race, even if I missed it, I watched the whole thing. But as soon as I stepped foot in Formula One, then no more. I don't know why, it just takes up too much time. But obviously, I watched the important things. I watched the replays and the overtakes and the things I need to learn from. But it was crazy. Silverstone was amazing. Lived up to everything it needed to be, and I knew it would be, with the fans and the excitement and even the racing. You know, it was a fun race, exciting race from start to finish. So all good, and the result as well was a decent result. Even though it could have been just a little bit better, it was still a fun weekend. So hopefully we can continue that into here in Austria.
Showed you're in the fight, even with a heavily upgraded Mercedes, a heavily upgraded Alpine. You guys are still there.
I mean, we're not in the fight with Mercedes or Ferrari or Red Bull. They're still a very, very long way ahead of us. Probably a good second at least. So yeah, and I don't know, we didn't bring anything for little things which maybe helped half a tenth or a tenth, if that. And we'll continue to try and develop the car in any way that we can. You know, there's always going to be small things every weekend we're tweaking and trying to make it a little bit better. So we'll keep doing that, especially when people are bringing big upgrades. We know we've got to find every little thing we can. And when we have a good weekend like in Silverstone, when we just do a good job, the car is, it's obvious that the car is decent enough and good enough that we can fight them. We know maybe on some more difficult tracks like Canada, we struggle a little bit more and we can't fight them as easily, but there's still potential. So hopefully this is a track we have the potential to do so.
There's so few corners on this track, there's so little time to make up time, and as you're saying, the gap is quite big to the three teams ahead, and yet you go insanely well around this track. You always seem to be able to pull something out. What are you hoping for from this weekend?
The same as the last few years.
Nice.
I can tell you why. I think the car has always gone well here. It's since my first year of racing here, it's always been a good one. We were good in the straights, we were decent in the braking zones. We were always very competitive in high speeds, which is quite a bit of here, so that's always a good strength to have. This year's very different with these different cars, so we have to wait and see how many of these characteristics have kind of continued in. I would say some of them are slightly different and maybe not as good, but at the same time, some things are also quite strong. So we'll see. I would love to say just the same as the last few years and another podium and in the fight for pole. Although it might be a bit more difficult than ever, we'll still go for it.
A couple of days on from the heroics of Silverstone, how do you build on such a positive weekend?
Just a nice and happy attitude.
I like that.
Yeah, we had a good start into the weekend, and especially FP3 went well on the dry. Unfortunately, then we had an issue in qualifying, so that kind of set our starting position quite a bit further back than we wanted. But at the end, also it made the whole weekend and at the end those points so much sweeter.
You didn't have the pace in qualifying at Silverstone. If it's wet here this weekend and cool as it looks like it's going to be for qualifying and the sprint, have you got on top of what you learned at Silverstone in order to not make that same mistake in qualifying? So
yeah, we had a problem in the car in qualifying in Silverstone, which obviously I think is a result of that result. Yeah. No, I think that our car has always been very, very competitive in the wet. It has been in Imola, it has been in Canada. I think that in that sense, Silverstone was probably a one-off. Hopefully if it's wet here, I'm sure that we'd be quite on it again.
Is this as close as you can get to a home Grand Prix now?
Is it? No, I think Spa is closer.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But same language here?
Same language. Not really.